I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Kameron Kales. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be on the show. I've had a busy day, so this is going to be pretty fun to wind down.
There we go. This is where you wind down into the Caribbean breeze, my friend. Well, tell us what part of the world are you in right now, Kameron?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the United States.
Oh, sweet. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
So I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and I think that's how we got connected. I'm currently running a software company here in Raleigh called Glance.
Yeah, so called Glance, right? That didn't come through too clearly. Yeah, so, tell us about the podcast part. I did connect with you via that similarity. Tell us about your podcast, please.
Yeah, so about 6 months ago, I got started doing my own podcast. It's called Recruiting with Data. I'm very involved in the recruiting and hiring space, so I wanted to get hiring managers on the show and be able to learn from them and basically speed up my learning since I'm just 23. So we get people from around the world to talk about why they hire, how they hire, tips and tricks, bunch of stuff like that.
So how did you come up with the idea that doing the podcast would give you the access to that information?
So I've kind of always been a consumer of podcast information, maybe for like the last 3 years. So I was just really excited about it. And then there was an app that came out called Anchor that made it really easy to record from your phone. So we just kind of started doing it, and it seemed like people were interested. We don't have any like professional equipment or anything like that. We just do it from our phone.
Yeah, which is cool. You need to get the word out, and then you could move from there. Yeah, which is cool. How's the response been thus far to the podcast and the information you're putting out there?
People love it. It's like one of the best things I've ever done. We put out usually 2 episodes a week with people around the world. And I just get so many conversations from people that say they've really enjoyed the content, or they've learned a lot, or they want to connect with me and see kind of behind the scenes what's going on with the podcast. It's really fun. I'm glad that we did it.
So are you going to continue doing this, and why, if you are going to?
Yeah, so we're going to keep doing it. We're actually, as the company starts to grow, we'll probably put more resources into it. So we'll maybe start doing 4 episodes a week. We just have a time constraint so far. But it's the best way we've ever learned. And for us to be good as a company, we need to learn as much as possible about recruiting.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, tell us where we can connect to get more information on Glance.
Yeah, so I'm pretty available anywhere online. Kameron Kales is my Twitter handle. Kameron Kales with K's is also Facebook, and also LinkedIn and GitHub and Snapchat, Instagram. So I'm pretty universal in that. If you just take my name and put it in anywhere, you can find me.
Super. And what's one other thing you've done, Kameron, consistently over the last 3 years?
Yeah, so I would say the thing that I'm most proud of that I've done over the last 3 years is I taught myself how to code. And I built a full production software company that we make money and pay our bills off of. And I had no computer science background before doing that. So that's been a rough like 3 years, but it's if you put the time in, it's not that bad. A lot of people just don't want to put the time in.
Now there are 2 parts that you've just expressed there. One being the entrepreneurship side, and one being the coding side, right? It's like the technician, if you would, right? So was the entrepreneurship side a strength that you had before?
I don't really think so. I think I was just naturally curious. It's like, okay, like, can we mess around with this and talk to some people and see where we can go from it? I mean, like, we didn't do well as a company to start for like a year. So we were just starting to figure out exactly what we need to do. But it was more technical first, and then figure out what we can sell second.
How does that make you feel?
I mean, I love it. I can't imagine. I used to work in finance, and I can't imagine sitting at a corporate desk and kind of just making cold calls all day like I used to. Today I actually travel a good amount, and I'm able to work from wherever I want, since most of my stuff is just on my computer.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
That's amazing. So, like, at what specific point in time did you say, okay, I'm going to learn to code?
Yeah, so I was always like super interested in math, and I think I figured out like maybe sophomore year of college that I couldn't just do math the rest of my life, so I needed to figure out something that was actually going to make me money. So I wasn't quite good enough to do math the rest of my life. So I was like, okay, what's a like side step out of math? And a lot of coding overlaps to general math topics that you learn about in algebra, geometry, calculus stuff. So it was kind of like a sidestep, but it was very complementary.
Why would you suggest to someone out there listening, Kameron, that's working, doing the thing they do not like doing, that they even consider doing what you've done by jumping out into the open sea to follow a dream?
Yeah, I would tell people that you need to find a community online, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, Snap, whatever you're into, and just find people that you want to make things for and talk to them all day, every day. And eventually you'll figure out what it is they want you to build. And at that point, it's pretty easy. You understand the pain and you have empathy for it, and you can go from there. And once you have that, you're fine.
Love it. Amazing audience. You're hearing it live from Kameron Kales. Again, he is the founder at Glance, and he is the podcast host of Recruiting with Data. Kameron, let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Okay, let's do it.
Kameron, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I think the earliest childhood memory I have is this really bad picture my mom took of me on the beach with a Speedo on. And I was about maybe 5 years old, so that was just not appropriate. And I hope that no one listening ever finds that picture, but it's funny to travel back to her house and look at.
Why do you think this memory is so clear? How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today? I
think that was like the most embarrassed I've ever been in my life, and every time I look at that picture, I'm still kind of shocked that my mother did that to me. But it's kind of fun because like once you kind of let that guard down with some people, they open up to you. So in a way, it's like I got to be like really embarrassed, but then people kind of understood that and opened up to me, and it's actually made a lot of great conversation.
Yeah. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Okay.
I love the idea that the thing that could have been with your decision has now become the stomping ground of who you are now. Mm-hmm. And again, it looks like the picture that was taken and the effects of it, you being the person that is decisive now to say, I'm not going to let another one of those pictures be taken again, where it connects to your career, right? Where you were that accountant, right? Or that person doing that cold calling. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but just for you and what you wanted to achieve, that you would not allow that picture to be taken again, that you would function in the thing you desired to function in. Now the pictures are great, right?
Yeah, they're very funny to laugh at. I can't imagine more of them.
Well, Kameron, if we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh man, if we're gonna go there, I was kind of into like the Backstreet Boys, Aaron Carter phase of my life, but also listened to some Green Day too. So I probably feel better about telling people Green Day than Aaron Carter.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Kameron?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Kameron, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
No, I do not.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
No.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Yes, 8, more than 8.
If you had to share with us, Kameron, your own unique real statement, a statement that sums up who Kameron Kales is, what would you say that is?
Curious.
Kameron, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that's listening. Thank you to you for having me. If anyone's interested in reaching out or also networking at all or whatsoever, just add me on LinkedIn or send me an email at kam@glance.ai.
Love it. Kameron Kales, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.